Thanks for joining our live. Sorry for the slight delay. We're actually going to move the C7 Caribou into the hangar here shortly. It's going to go over by where the MiGs are. So really excited for some of these aircraft moves. The MiG used to be over to the right there. Of course, the Skyraider was down on the left. That's moved to its permanent spot now. The helicopters, the Jolly Green and Black Mariah, have switched positions. So in the foreground there, you see that black chopper. That's the Black Mariah, famous for its CIA missions in Southeast Asia War. Looks like they do have to move the MiG-17. I see they're making some progress here in this gallery. So this gallery redesign is for the upcoming Search and Rescue exhibit, the SAR, coming online here in a few months. Really excited about the updates to this gallery, and the stories that are going to be told here are going to be pretty incredible. So I could tell you a little bit about the aircraft that's coming in. It's the de Havilland C7A Caribou. The Caribous did have different designations when they first started service with the Army. Switched over to Air Force call signs and insignia later on. But the C7A was a twin-engine short takeoff and landing, or STOL, utility transport built by de Havilland Aircraft in Canada. It was used primarily for tactical airlift missions from short unimproved airstrips and forward battle areas. It could carry either 26 fully equipped paratroopers, 20 litter patients, or more than 3 tons of equipment. So a great utility vehicle. The Caribou made its first flight in 1958, which is remarkable. And the U.S. Army flew several prototypes for evaluation. In 1961, de Havilland delivered the first 22 of a total of 159 C-7s to the Army. Originally designated the AC-1, the aircraft was redesignated CV-2 in 1962, and it retained that designation for the remainder of the Army service. In January of 1967, when responsibility for all fixed-wing TAC transports was transferred to the U.S. Air Force, the Caribou received the designation C-7. During the Southeast Asia War, the Caribou STOL capability made it particularly suitable for delivering troops, supplies, and equipment to isolated outposts. So great utility vehicle. This C-7 on display is a Southeast Asia combat veteran that later served with the Air Force Reserves. I didn't know about the reserve mission, but I did know that this did serve in Southeast Asia. I wish I had more details on that. Pretty incredible. So its length is 72 feet 7 inches. Height is 31 foot 8 inches. Weight is 28,500 pounds max. Ceiling looks like just under 25,000 feet. Range over 1,100 miles. Cruising speed is 152, and the max speed is 216 miles an hour. So pretty slow. Pretty slow aircraft, but a good altitude on that. Engines are 2 Pratt & Whitney R2000 7M2s. 1,450 horsepower each on those engines. So that's pretty fantastic. So really neat about the Caribou. I'm not sure if it's on our Cockpit 360 app, but it's definitely worth a look. We have over 100 aircraft on the Cockpit 360 app. You can go to our website to find that, or go out to the Play Store, wherever you get your apps. Type in ACI Cockpit 360. And we've got some really great interior reviews, to include the Memphis Belle, which just put on that app recently. So really excited for some of those. So we're in the Southeast Asia War Gallery. We got patches to your lower left. We got the MiG-17, the MiG-21 in the upper left. Lower right, we got Black Mariah. We got the Jolly Green. We got the A1H Skyraider. Memphis Belle 2 is over there. Mr. Ling is hanging up in the corner over there as well. So really neat section of this gallery. To my far right is Triple Nickel. Got a Robin Olds F4C on display over there. I'm looking at a B-26. So I'm sorry I can't pan around with this camera. I just locked it off. So looks like the guys are in discussion on their next moves. So feel free to hit us up in the chat if you'd like, if you have any questions. So we've got some other exciting restorations happening. We've got a JN4 Jenny, wooden fabric, amazing aircraft. Casey Simmons is working on that along with a couple other guys. Dave Robb is helping with that as well. They're working on the wings right now. I think the fuselage will be next for Fabric and Dope. After that, not much left. I think they're trying to get it done early April. So that'd be incredible. So looking forward to having that back on display in the early years gallery. We've got an Atlas rocket in restoration now up near Canton, Ohio. So that's kind of a long-term project on that one. What else do we have? Blériot from early years. It's probably going to be maybe a 2-year project, just started recently. Oh, the F-15 Streak Eagle, that's in restoration. They still have to put on the pitot tube. And I'm hoping that'll come over this year. That'd be amazing to have that in R&D. And of course the paint has been stripped off that bird, so it looks like it did when it set the time to climb altitude records. So kind of a slow process. I appreciate you hanging with me today. Hope everyone is doing well and enjoying their week. So this year we're celebrating our 100th anniversary. Incredible that the museum turns 100 this year. May 16th, 1923, open to the public as a, it started as an engineering study, an engine museum at McCook Field near downtown Dayton. Later moved to Wright Field, actually like Area B, just to my left actually, not too far away. And then Patterson Field over by the flight line of actual Patterson Field, now Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And then we moved to this fourth and final location with Building 1 behind me in 1970, 1971. President Nixon was here with Sam 26000, which we have in our fourth building, that aircraft. He was here with that bird. Now it's on display as an artifact. So he helped us open the building in 1970 and 71. Look, as they're moving the JLG lift and some other things out of the way, they had a ladder stand they had to move, of course. We got the tug over there. I've got a camera on the tug for the Caribou, so we'll see if that's still rolling. So feel free to comment, let us know where you're viewing from. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a note in the live chat. I think it's working. So the MiG-17 is on the move. Hello Litterbug, thanks for your question. Let's see, where will the current Air Force One go, 747, once it's retired? I can only guess a new hangar will be needed. Actually, we are hoping to get one of those airframes once it retires. There is a gallery design in place already. Unfortunately, a couple aircraft may have to go into storage based on the redesign. It's just a massive aircraft, but yes, we are hoping to get one of those when they eventually retire. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Dennis H., thanks for viewing. We appreciate you chiming in and saying hello. Thank you so much. Hope everyone's having a great Air Force Day. That's Brian moving the tug there. He is so talented. Brian's one of the guys that worked on the Memphis Belle. He's been here for years. I don't know how many years, but I have photos of him in restoration going back to before I was a photographer here when I started here 10 years ago. He's been here a minute. The crew is great. We've actually got, let's see, I think 3 guys on this crew that worked on the Belle. Most of this crew worked on the A1H Skyraider that's just to the right there of Brian and the tug. Super talented crew. Casey, he's been doing a lot of fabric aircraft lately. So good at the baseball stitching, rib stitching, doping, wooden fabric. He is the guy. Sorry for the loud noise of the tugs. It just echoes in here with all the metal in the hangar. So I appreciate everyone hanging with me. I know it's loud with the HVAC and all the tug noise. Oh, more of the door is opening. That's fantastic. Probably should run down there and see if my camera's still recording. All right, I'm gonna hop down there. I'll be right back. Hello, Josh Hopkins. Thanks for viewing today. You really can't see it. I promise the caribou is to the left where that white area is with the door open. Camera just can't handle all the influx of light. I think I'm in manual here. Yeah, the guys just moved the MiG-17. Hopefully they'll move the caribou next. That would be amazing. Well, looks like they're doing some work on the MiG-21, so that may have to move. I'm not sure the exact layout, so this is interesting what they have to do. I wish they would take these outside for us so we can get some beauty shots. I was able to photograph the MiG-21 a couple years ago outside. That was pretty special. Yeah, it'd be fun to have the MiGs like nose to nose for a photo. That'd be remarkable. Not going to happen, however, but that's okay. We've been able to photograph both the cockpits. Should be on our website on the fact sheet. So yeah, if you just go out to nationalmuseum.af.mil, or you can Google us if you haven't been to the website before, and just type in these aircraft, MiG-17, MiG-21, you'll get to the fact sheets. You can also go to our exhibits page, and we've got them broken down by gallery. Oh, so cool to see the MiG-21 move here in a minute. I don't know, are they just pulling that straight forward? Who knows what they're doing with that one. I'm going to go down and try and find the exhibit layout. Thanks for viewing, everybody. I'm going to keep this live going as long as we can here. Ah, very cool. That is so awesome. Look at those MiGs together down there. So if you've just joined our live, this is a reshuffle in the back quarter of the Southeast Asia War Gallery. MiGs are moving out of the way, getting ready for the caribou to come in here. We're doing a search and rescue exhibit coming online in a few months here. We've done a chopper swap. We've moved the Sky Raider to its new home. It's just to the right there. You can kind of see the Sky Raider right there. We got Jolly Green and Black Mariah. Well, they made short work of that MiG-21. That's fantastic. Looks like they may hop over to the C-7A, the Caribou. So about 5 guys on the crew today. My photog is down there as well. S. Michael DeHart. Thank you for your previous visits. We hope you can return soon. We add new stuff all the time. Just started up the biggest tug we have. Brian's moving the Caribou already. Can't wait for you to see this once it comes through here. The wingspan is just massive. The tail is super tall. It'll come into view here shortly once they get it behind the MiG there. C7A Caribou. I love the old photos of this in Southeast Asia when they painted Santa Claus on the nose of this, the Santa Boo. Just some classic shots. Yeah, it's coming into view now. I said earlier, I love this bird particularly because the tail is the initials KL on it, so it works out for my first and last initial as well. So special place in my heart for this aircraft. Totally random. Hello, Bob Winder. Thanks for viewing today. I don't have an answer for that question. How many hours of planning for today's move? I'm sure they put quite a bit into it. It's got to be a whole redesign concept, and our exhibits folks, our research folks, our collections folks, and our restoration team, they all get together and kind of hash out ultimately what can fit where, what needs to go where based on exhibit cases coming in, that kind of thing. And it's pretty remarkable, all the teams that come together to make these moves happen. But ultimately, yes, the restoration crew moves the big heavies around, and they just do a wonderful job at it. Firing up the tug again. The wingspan is just massive, so I imagine this is a nightmare because the left wing of Patches, just to our left here, I'm sure it complicates things. And there's a wall by the far ladder stand back there that's over 8 feet tall as well, so that may be coming close to the tip of that left wing. But if anybody can figure it out, our guys can, because they're fantastic at this type of operation. So we do have one volunteer I talked with, Jerry, wonderful volunteer. You see him if you come, he's here every day. And he worked on caribous in Southeast Asia. He said it was kind of a nightmare to work on these birds. Push back the caribou. Sure, they got to straighten it out a little bit or do what they need to do, nudge it in here. So if you just joined us, thank you, one, for viewing. And the reason we're doing this reconfiguration is for an upcoming search and rescue exhibit coming online here in a couple months. So to do that, we got to get the timeline a little bit better, make some space for some exhibit cases coming in here as well. And wonderful story to tell, the search and rescue story. One of my favorite people on earth is Wayne Fisk, Chief Retired Wayne Fisk. They say he was the last to pull a trigger actually in 1975 in Cambodia. We've got his beret on display and his picture. He was in the rescue missions, flew on a lot of Jolly Greens, did the Pigs and People mission. We have an interview with Chief Fisk actually on our YouTube channel. It talks about Green Feet. The whole Green Feet story as well for search and rescue. Oh yeah, they're definitely angling it in now as opposed to straight in. Yeah, the biggest thing is the, looks like the wing Apaches. That'll fit just under the wing Apaches, it looks like. So thanks for your patience. I know it's a long process. This is not an easy thing that's done. It is definitely a big game of Tetris. If anybody's got a question or a comment, feel free to leave it in the live chat. I'm taking a look at it occasionally. Special thanks to everyone viewing today. I know it's loud with the tug and HVAC and an open hangar door. So I appreciate you listening to me chatter and watching the aircraft moves. So we've got a ton more videos here on our YouTube channel. We've got interviews with veterans, as I mentioned, Chief Wayne Fisk. We've got an interview with him. We've got World War II veterans in there. Some current day veterans as well. You can check out some of those stories right here on our YouTube channel. We just put up a highlight video of the micro drone race that was this past weekend. We had 3 days of drone racing inside and outside of the C-124 and the Korean War Gallery. 64 pilots, I believe. Incredible. We had pilots come in from Colorado, Nebraska, New Jersey, Detroit, all over Ohio. So it was really a national attention for this, with some of these pilots wanting to race here inside the Air Force Museum. 4th year in a row. It was pretty remarkable. Looks like they're moving the MiG-21 again. Or maybe just taking the tow bar off. Looks like they're taking the tow bar off. Yep. Just took the tow bar off. I'm sorry, it's such a wide shot. You can't see much detail here. So one thing that really helps with these the layouts in the gallery is I think there's 72nd scale models of each bird we have, and I wish we could put that on display sometime, but we keep that in storage in our building 5 on base, and they actually, you know, if they can move the scale model around inside, you know, a model depiction layout. They also use computer aids as well, computer aided drafting, I believe, and if you can move it with the model and in the computer, then you should be able to move it full scale in the gallery. So the trick is always the tires. You know, there can be flat spots on a tire from having a aircraft in one spot forever. We are getting a little smarter on that, however, and putting little tiny jack stands underneath some of the tires, so you'll see that on your next visit. Just take a peek. And one of our volunteers put together a ton of jack stands to alleviate the pressure on the tires to extend their life, so that's fantastic. So I'm really excited once this new layout comes into place, because then I can fly my drone around it and get some more footage even of the new layout and design. Kilroy, thanks for viewing today. Yes, I probably said it earlier, but yes, this is the second building. So this is the Southeast Asia War Gallery. Some of the aircraft that served in Southeast Asia during Vietnam. We say Southeast Asia because it was Laos, it was Cambodia, surrounding areas. It wasn't just a war in Vietnam. So that's why we call it Southeast Asia. So this is the second hangar. This is in the back corridor. Moving aircraft for an upcoming exhibit called Search and Rescue. So there's a redesign. So the choppers moved, the Skyraider moved, the MiGs are moving. Patches is staying where it is, 123. They've got to put the rotor blades back on the choppers at some point. Some moving pieces for sure today. Yes, part of this gallery is stanchioned off. You can still come up to the stanchions and peek in a little bit. It's jammed with aircraft right now, so it's hard to see a lot from the ground level. But yes, we try not to shut down. Sometimes we do aircraft moves when we're closed, if we can. Chris, thanks for viewing. We appreciate your comment. Thank you very much. Yeah, it is a true honor to work here. It is incredible to tell some of these stories, chat with visitors and veterans. That's what I love doing video, interviewing a veteran about their story and just sharing that. It's pretty remarkable to capture that history, those first-hand accounts, the people that worked on the planes, flew on them, designed them. It's pretty incredible, and I love showcasing our restoration because not a lot of people get to see the behind the scenes anymore. We stopped doing the tours a couple years ago, so that's why we try and do as much as we can behind the scenes with the drone and video, so you all can still see some of what makes this place tick. Litterbug asks, are there tours of the restoration hangar? No, we discontinued those tours a couple years ago. But a couple times a month I do highlight restoration. Sometimes our storage hangar as well. So you can go right here, YouTube. I think I put out a video last month on the storage hangar, did an overflight with the drone. And it's pretty remarkable. Some people comment, you have more planes in storage than most museums have. So that was really neat. We've got the MiG-25 in storage, F-107. There's so many, the Learjet. It's remarkable what we have. I wish we could bring more of those out, but we try to at least do some photos and video every couple months just to showcase what we have. Thank you, Chris, for your comment. Much appreciated. Like I said, it is an honor to be here and tell these stories. Jim, thank you so much for bringing your dad coming up. That's awesome. You guys he worked on the C-119J or the C-119. I wonder what model, if it was a J model or not. That's pretty remarkable. I love ours. Our C-119J was the satellite catcher. Incredible mission with that. That's fantastic. Yeah, I hope you have a great visit coming up. Thank you for sharing that comment. That's wonderful. So slight delay. I think they're working on something with maybe patches. So I've got fond memories of bringing my father here when he was alive. I was active duty at Wright Pat, and we'd come visit the museum. As often as he would come down and see me, we'd try and come into the museum, and I can't believe I work here now, and I've just got great memories of bringing him through here. He was an Air Force vet, and I still have his Air Force uniform that he donated to me, so really special. Really spectacular place. Tons of stories told here. We have a new enlisted exhibit coming on very soon. We have some of it throughout the galleries already done. We tell the maintainer's story in Korea by the C-124 by Old Shaky. So it's great to tell a maintainer's story. Our enlisted exhibit is really coming online at Kettering Hall. Used to be where the Bob Hope exhibit was. That is hopefully going to come and relocate here in Southeast Asia at some point. I look forward to having Bob Hope artifacts back at some point in the next couple of years. We just brought back Eddie Rickenbacker's World War II artifacts, so that's really neat. He was stranded out to sea off the coast of Hawaii when their B-17 went down, and we have parts of the inflatable raft and his cross that he carried, and different things have been out for conservation, and some of the salt remnants from the Pacific Ocean were still in the cross, and those were taken out and conserved, so those are back on display after a couple years being off display. We've got some amazing artifacts from Bong and McGuire, the top two aces ever for our country, 38 and 40 victories in World War II. And of course, McGuire Air Force Base is named after Thomas McGuire. Out front, we have Bong Street, named after Bong. So really neat to have their artifacts. We even have a left-handed golf club from Bong. So that's really neat. I didn't know he was left-handed, but I see pictures of him with a watch on his right wrist, and then with the left-handed golf club. Looks like he was definitely left-handed. So those are on display in the World War II gallery, just beyond the Bataan Death March exhibit. So Women in the Air Force exhibit we just put online within the last 2 years, so really excited to tell those stories. Have some great artifacts from female pilots and a lot of people that contributed to those missions. And we've got a temporary exhibit right now thanks to our Air Force Museum Foundation. It's a survival exhibit for kids and families to walk through. Really special exhibit, so that part of it is free and fun. There's even, I think, a brown bear in there. It talks about maybe surviving a bear attack. And then there's like a ropes course. It's a confidence course that kids can do, and that's really fun. That's a paid thing, but that's a neat part of that traveling exhibit that's going to be here until May 7th. So special thanks to our Air Force Museum Foundation. You can go to our website or their website and get information on that exhibit. Really neat. A lot of people are enjoying that ropes course. I'm not going to do it. I had plenty of confidence course in the Air Force. Feel free to chat in the comments if you'd like. Yes, we have a couple sit-in cockpits. I think maybe 5 now. Yes, there's an F-4 sit-in cockpit. There's an F-16 sit-in cockpit. F-111. We just added a B-1 sit-in cockpit, so that's really neat. That's actually by the B-1 that we have. There's an A-10 look-in cockpit. T-38 sit-in cockpit. And maybe one other, but I think that might be it. I think we have about 5 sit-in cockpits. Those are really special, always a big hit. Bob, thanks so much about the drone videos. Yeah, we love doing the drone videos. It's a neat way to see the birds. I need to really focus more on some of the hanging aircraft because you really can't see the detail. A little bit more tricky to film with the drone, but I really need to step up my game on the hanging aircraft and showcase some of those. But thank you for viewing our drone stuff. We have a blast with that. Thank you, Jim. That's awesome about the C-119 with your dad. Hello to you up in, it looks like Cleveland. Yeah, that'd be a good 3-hour commute every day. Kilroy, thanks for your comment. That's awesome. That's cool. So you guys went to Patterson Field then? Probably he went to Patterson Field in the 60s then, when the museum was there. We put out some highlights recently because it's the 100th anniversary, so we've done some little nuggets on our YouTube channel, just some teasers about some of the old locations, so you can scroll down in our YouTube channel and see some of those videos. I am doing a feature video that's going to be in the exhibit we're doing for our 100th. That'll be on display in May, so that was a neat documentary to work on. Hello, George. Was it George Miranda in 1983? Thanks for your comment. No, we've not used the drones for inspection. I've offered it up, but sometimes it's just best to put human eyes on it. You know, the guys will get up in the JLG lifts and the cherry pickers, and they'll inspect the hanging wires and any structural thing that they need to inspect. Maybe if I had a thermal drone, maybe there'd be some value in that for inspections, but right now they still just do it the more traditional ways for aircraft inspections. Thank you, Jim, for your comment on the Bataan Death March. That's amazing. Yeah, I love some of those artifacts from Bataan Death March, especially the cribbage board. I'm big into playing cribbage. That board game is awesome. So really neat to see that cribbage board on there. But Bataan Death March, just no words of how horrible that must have been. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing right now. I'm going to go check. I'll give you a full report. My view is blocked from up here in the crow's nest, but I believe they're down on the left wing of Patches. I appreciate everyone viewing. Hopefully the guys will get back to moving aircraft here fairly soon. It is quite a process, so appreciate your patience. You can always check back in too or watch this later. No pressure from us at all. We just try and bring you some views of what's happening at this amazing museum on a daily basis. This place is a giant moving museum. You know, some museums you move one thing once and that's it. Here we try and get the timeline a little bit better. You know, we'll get some aircraft that maybe have some more significance, so we'll do aircraft swap possibly. I wish we had more room to put like the MiG-25 on display that's in storage and some of those other aircraft, but right now they're just sitting in storage. But we have, I think, over 350 on display right now, aerospace vehicles. So that's anything from an aircraft, airplane, a jet, a drone, a bomb, a missile, those kind of things. So over 350 aerospace vehicles and then thousands of artifacts. And our team in collections, they manage over 130,000 artifacts. And a lot of those are on loan to other museums. I believe there's over 2,000 aircraft that we manage. I think one or two people manage the aircraft on loan. So when you go to another museum or an airport and you see a plane on a stick, even here at Wright Pat, we've got two aircraft on sticks by the main gate, an F-15 and F-16, and those are managed right here out of this office. So yeah, this location is technically on the grounds of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The first location was downtown Dayton at McCook Field, and then it moved to Wright Field, historic Wright Field, which is just to my left, and then Patterson Field near Fairborn, and then back to historic Wright Field here in 1970, 1971 with our first building. And now we're up to 4 buildings, 19 acres. We got the missile silo as well. The Atlas is out for restoration right now. The one that's got a structural frame on the inside of this one. This one doesn't have to be under pressure. We do have one in restoration that's in our restoration hangar that's in under pressure. I forget the PSI on that, but it's got to be that way so it doesn't collapse. But yeah, our other Atlas is up near Canton, Ohio right now, undergoing a contracted restoration. But there is room in our missile gallery for it, so that's going to be a tricky move, but our guys are brilliant, so they'll be able to figure out the move on that. That would be great to have a fifth building. Thank you, Kilroy. Yes, so there, and George, thank you for your comment on the T-33. So there is a requirement when aircraft do go on loan out there to a different museum or an airport or something like that, they do have to be maintained by them, at least responsible for that. And sometimes our teams do go out and inspect. So there is a whole process on that. I don't know enough about that whole process, but I'm sure it's pretty daunting keeping track of all these aircraft. So at Lackland, all the planes around the bomb run, I remember walking on the field for graduation day and had all those planes on sticks, and it's amazing to know that they're managed right here out of our museum. So special thanks to everyone viewing today. Thanks to our veterans and the families that have service in them. It's incredible what our military is able to do for freedom. And we're just so honored to tell these stories. We definitely here stand on the shoulders of giants who saved these aircraft from scrap. And special thanks to the folks in Memphis. They saved the Bell from scrap. You know, the city was able to acquire the aircraft. They couldn't finish the restoration, and that's fine. We're honored to be able to finish that and put it on display so the story can be told. And we didn't get it done in time for the family, the actual crew members to be here, Harold Locke and those guys, Captain Morgan. But the families came when we opened that bird on May 17th of 2018. And really neat to have the families of the actual crew of the Memphis Belle here for the opening. Even Jim Vernus, his family was here. Harold Locke's family, I met his grandson that came down from, I believe, Green Bay. So that was a really, really special moment. So we're really honored to tell these stories, and especially the Belle is like our crown jewel right now. So if you have not seen the Boeing B-17F Memphis Belle in person, it's in our World War II gallery, the one that flew 25 missions over Germany and the first to return home after the 25. It wasn't truly the first to 25 like the early war bond and all that publicity said. It was maybe the third or fourth to 25, but it was certainly the first one to come home after 25. And then it went on the war bond tour. So really fantastic to have that artifact, and the surrounding exhibits really special. We have Captain Morgan's dog tags. We've got, I think, a bracelet from Jim Vernus, the co-pilot. He later went on to command his own plane after about 5 missions with the Belle. We've done, I think 30 videos on the Belle. So if you can, right here on our YouTube channel, you'll see all kinds of stuff on the markings of the Belle. You'll see restoration videos, even the wheel covers we did a little video on. So a lot of great detailed restoration on that. We've got painting of the nose art. Casey was on the left-hand side of the fuselage painting the girl in the blue swimsuit. Chad was on the right side of the fuselage painting the girl, the brunette, in the red swimsuit. And they were painting at the same time. So it was so funny trying to capture both of those guys at the same time with just one person doing it. So hilarious, because Chad would say, "Hey Ken, I'm working on the shoes," and Casey would say, "Hey Ken, I'm on the hair," and I just jump back and forth for 3 days in a row, capturing their amazing work on the Belle. And they don't put their own extra artistry into it, right? They replicate what was there. So we choose a time period. The time period we chose for the Belle restoration was right after its last mission, because we actually have good documentation of how the bird looked right after its final mission. And so we chose that time period. And so our guys replicate what we have based on photos and everything. The color, the scale, count the rivets. It's pretty remarkable what they put into it. Abel Windsor, thanks for viewing. That's awesome. Your dad flew B-17s over Europe in World War II. Thank you for your family's service. I'm sure that was not an easy task. They say, what was it, over 30,000 men died in that mission. I mean, that is incredible undertaking that they had. And even with the Belle, most times early on, they didn't have fighter escort. So you're just on your own out there with the other planes, the other heavies. Props off. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for saying hi. Hope you had a great weekend. You did an amazing job with your outreach. Really appreciate you talking to folks about the drones this weekend. Props off. You are awesome. Jim, yes, the Doolittle Raider exhibit is fantastic as well. We've got the goblets there as well. They're all turned over now with the passing of Colonel Dick Cole. So tragic that all 80 guys now are now deceased and all the goblets are turned over. But yeah, pretty remarkable exhibit. We have a camera that was used. I forget which crew member actually had a still camera and taking shots from the B-25s during the Doolittle raid. The children of the raiders come by every now and again. Jeff Thatcher, son of David Thatcher, he's been here before. He talked to me on camera. I need to put that video together at some point. But really neat to speak to the children. I did interview about 5 raiders before they passed. Tom Griffin was hilarious. If you've ever met Tom Griffin, he was a riot. He was so funny. Okay. So I'll show you guys another area. I'm just going to pan the camera. They're working on patches right now, but I'm just going to pan it to the chopper so you can see more of the gallery. And I'll put the camera on the Caribou once they start moving that.
Might want to do it faster because it's still going.
Yes, it's a fantastic weather day to have the hangar door open. We try and minimize the hangars being open too long because birds like to get in, so that's an issue. Props off for sure. You've earned it. Thank you so much for all your help. Just not this year, but in previous years, you've helped with the micro drone race. I hope you had fun flying as well in the race, but you gave a lot of your time to the visitors. Thank you so much for educating people and doing a lot of outreach. Props off. Hats off to you. Props off. Really, thank you so much. Bob Winter, yes, come back, please. Last time we visited, we had 3 hangars. We have 4 now, plus the missile silo. We do tell the radar story now, so I'm not sure which radar unit has been installed. But the guys did put a radar unit into the Cold War gallery recently, so when you get here, just ask for it. I don't think I've updated the website on that, but there is a radar set there. Our director is big into radar, so we are telling the radar story. Abel Windsor, so that's amazing. Early on in Britain, that's amazing. So if you just joined us, thank you so much for joining our live. I've kind of got the camera pointed at really nothing going on right now. Our guys are working on patches. I don't know if they're taking the air out the tires or what they're doing, but they're making sure that the wing of the Caribou that's coming in here today will fit just past Patch's wing. So they have competing wings because they're so tall. These airplanes get bigger as you get closer to them, for sure. Our photos and video really don't do the scale of these justice. You know, maybe the drone video sometimes shows scale of how large these are. But when you're in that missile gallery in person and look up, and I see kids do it all day long, they just gasp and their jaw hits the floor because they see how large these vehicles are. So that's really exciting. So if you can get here in person, this is really the mecca, certainly in this area. Some say rivals Smithsonian. They have a great collection as well, but we are honored to have what we have here. And in person is the way to see this museum. We had someone come in from Brazil recently, and they follow everything we do on social media, and they save money to come up here for a day from Brazil. It's pretty remarkable. We've got folks coming in from New Zealand. We've got folks coming in from Great Britain, which is awesome to have our friends from across the pond come and see American aviation. And of course we do have some British aviation. I love the Kestrel that led into the Harrier. We've got the Kestrel that was the prototype for the Harrier program. We've got the Hawker Hurricane. We've got some Spitfires. So we've got some great British aircraft as well. And we've got some Italian birds as well. We've got the Caproni, the bomber from the early years from World War I. That's remarkable to have a full-scale Caproni. And of course we've got the Machi in our World War II hangar. That thing just looks like a race car on wheels with a prop. It's so fun to see the Machi. And of course the German aircraft are pretty remarkable too. Okay, I'm going to pan the camera back over to the Caribou. So I apologize for the shaky cam here. So Caribou's moving in now. Got Brian on the tug. 4-man team here. Our director just showed up, so that's awesome. He is a great leader. He's got great ideas for this place. Allows us to open up aircraft for the public to see them every now and again. So really remarkable that he's able to showcase some of these birds. And of course we keep conservation as a #1 priority as well, so we don't overuse anything. And I'm sure my camera ran out of battery and SD card on the tug, but that's okay. Abel Windsor, I am not sure about the small reactors that powered the radar sites. I don't know enough about that mission with the radar sites and sets, so I'm sorry I don't have the answers for that one. Kilroy, yes, the B-24 hot stuff. We actually have some wreckage from that, from when it crashed into the mountain in Iceland. We have some of that wreckage on display near the Memphis Belle, so you can see that when you come in. Yeah, that was a huge loss. I think only one person survived that crash, if I remember. I may be totally off on that. Our director just sent me a text and he says aircraft moving. I gotta respond. So I just sent our director a text. He didn't know I was on site, so that's fantastic. Jim, your question on does the museum hold private open cockpit events? I guess we just did have one. Foundation had a swing dance night, and they opened up some of the aircraft for that event. So occasionally they'll have something like that. We used to have Open Aircraft Day here at the museum. We had the B-36 open last year or the year before. I don't see anything on the calendar coming up though. Definitely check our social media, Facebook page. We put a ton on there, Instagram and Twitter as well. But our website is the main source of all our event information. So just Google us, get to the website, that's got info. But I don't know of any open aircraft coming up. Caribou is coming in here. This is so exciting. I could not do what these guys do. I am so fortunate there's a job where I can press a red button and make a living. I have no idea how to tow a vehicle, repair a vehicle, anything like that. These guys are all A&P certified. We've got some veterans in our group as well. We've got some guys that were in our 445th, which is just down the street. The 445th Airlift Wing. We've got the C-17 airlift mission. We've got some guys that have been here a long time. I think maybe our newest restoration specialist maybe been on with us for 3 years. I know we hired 1 or 2 guys right when COVID first hit of March of 2020. I gotta remember to get my camera off that tug before they take it over. I'll have to make a trip to restoration to get all my gear. Looks like more discussion, but yeah, the Caribou is part of the way in the hangar. The tail is still outside. It's a really fun aircraft. Around Christmas time, I always try and dig up an old archive photo of the Caribous from Thailand when they have the Santa painting on the front of those, where they have Santa's nose as the radar set, which is so fun. So I've seen several new ones this past year. A lot of people posted up their own photos of the Caribou or Santa Boo. I thought that was initially done to raise morale, of course, and that was probably really neat. I think they actually delivered some Christmas gifts on that first plane that was painted with the face of Santa Claus on the nose of the Caribou. All right, does anyone have any more questions in the chat? Feel free to reach out to us. We may not have all the answers. I'm pretty much just the videographer of the last 10 years, so I've learned a little bit from our curatorial staff, our historian, our research team. We try and do a lot of media out of our public affairs. We just had local media here just yesterday. Good Day Dayton featured us, so they'll have some upcoming things on the survival exhibit. Last week we had, I think all the locals came out for the drone race, so that was great to have coverage from all the Dayton news organizations, to include some of the newspapers came out as well. Dayton Daily always likes to come out and cover what we're doing, and sometimes we get some national attention. We also, out of our office, we manage when somebody wants to do a documentary. I'm trying to think of the last company that came in. They featured the Catalina, the Memphis Belle, and the F-100, which we have here in Southeast Asia. Air Warriors. Yeah, that's it. Air Warriors. They were here doing some features coming up on 3 of our birds. So hopefully they'll come back and do more. We've got countless stories, so they said they will plan to come back. Mysteries at the Museum, they've featured us a couple times with some interesting stories out of the aircraft we have here. Pardon me for shaky cam. I'm panning the camera around here a little bit so you see more of the gallery. There's Triple Nickel. I need to photograph that while the beautiful light is on. I need to go get my drone. So there is a video on our YouTube channel on the inside. It's not the best video we've done, but there is a little walkthrough of that Connie. course, now it's going to be near impossible to get a ladder stand up to that back door there. Probably just have to use a JLG lift for my next time I want to photograph that. Hey, got some of our staff and volunteers down there. It's a fantastic team. So we have about 10 different divisions at the museum. We've got an education division, special events. They do an amazing job. We've got our collections division, our exhibits team that puts all the exhibits together. We've got research team. Of course, you've seen our restoration team today, public affairs. We've got our operations. They deal with a lot of the entry folks and day-to-day on the floor, and we've got a couple more divisions as well. It's just pretty incredible the effort that has to happen to keep this place operational, and special thanks to our volunteers. We've got pre-COVID, I think we had over 650 different volunteers. That dipped a little bit. I'm not sure what our numbers are now for volunteers, but we only ask, I think, 1 shift a month, I think, is the requirement, so that's 4 hours. So we do get some out-of-staters. We get some West Virginia folks come in, Pennsylvania, surrounding areas. They'll come in and do shifts. For the most part, local to Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dayton. A lot of our volunteers are veterans, so you'll hear a lot of great veteran stories when you come in with our volunteers. Other are aviation enthusiasts that have learned so much here. It's pretty remarkable. And special thanks to our foundation, our Air Force Museum Foundation. They actually raised the money that goes into the new building. Like, not a single tax dollar was spent on that 4th building. It was all private donations, and that funds raised over $40.8 million raised for the 4th building. So we're really excited that that's been open since 2018. Okay, I apologize for old Shaky again. I'm moving the camera. Sorry, everybody. My apologies. This is not my best setup today. Get you back into the action of the Caribou. I'll try not to move the camera again. I apologize for that. Thanks for hanging with us. Definitely a game of inches here. The aircraft are wedged in so tight. It's pretty dense. They're the best guys for the job, though. They do a wonderful job. Huh? Yes, Able Windsor, yes, we do. I was talking about that earlier. I think it's 72nd scale models of each building. And they do some layout planning with that. I think they also use some computer-aided devices as well. It looks like they had to move the tug around. They have to do that occasionally. Normally when we do quite a few aircraft moves, I'll have a camera facing both ways on the tug just in case for this situation, because that would just put my other camera right now out of service because my camera's facing us. So that's hilarious. So our guys moved the XB-70 a couple years ago now, just put it outside to do some aircraft moves. And I even had a camera inside the tug to see Brian there driving, and that was really fun. So definitely check out some of our videos right here. You'll see all kinds of aircraft moves. we get creative sometimes and put the cameras on the tugs or a camera inside a plane so you can look out. We did that with Air Force One, SAM-2 6000. We put a camera on the inside looking out of the cockpit, so that was fun. Yeah, it's like this is a very complex aircraft move. That wing being so close to the door over there. And they still have to get the tail inside, which you cannot see. A lot of coordination for sure, a lot of planning. There is a video on our YouTube channel. I flew the drone through 3 of the helicopters. The slick that we have that's painted to represent the Green Hornets. I flew through that one by the door gunners. Came out and around, flew through Jolly Green that's to your right, and then flew through the Black Mariah. And so it was a lot of fun to actually, you get a little sense of scale from the drone flying inside some of these aircraft. So definitely check out some of these videos in our YouTube feed. Jim, you're asking for recommendation for hotels. We're federal, so I can't really recommend any hotels because that's an endorsement. So I'm sorry I can't do that. There is some information on our website and the Dayton CVB, the Dayton Convention and Visitor Bureau. You can check with them. They have a list of local hotels. There is one across the street from us as well, but I'm sorry, being federal, I can't actually endorse any hotels. Thank you for asking. I hope you can find out the information you need. So the MiG-17 right there on display was presented to the museum by the Egyptian Air Force in 1986 as a symbol of friendship and cooperation between the two nations. Of course, it's painted in different markings. The Soviet MiG-17, NATO codename Fresco, was designated to replace the famous MiG-15 of the Korean War. We've got a MiG-15 in our Korean War gallery, the one that Kenneth Rowe defected out of. Pretty remarkable to have all these MiGs that we have. MiG-17 had more sharply swept wings, a longer fuselage, an afterburner, and better speed and handling characteristics than the MiG-15. First flight of a MiG-17 prototype took place in January of 1950, and production began in late '51. The first operational MiG-17s appeared in 1952, but they were not available in sufficient quantities to take part in the Korean War, thankfully. 5 versions of the aircraft eventually were produced. The MiG-17 has served in air arms in at least 20 nations throughout the world, including nations friendly to the U.S., and was flown against the U.S. aircraft in Southeast Asia. So, Vietnam, there you go. The North Vietnamese Air Force created the first MiG-17 unit, and that's what it's painted as, is the MiG-17 unit there from the North Vietnamese Air Force. The 921st Fighter Regiment in February of '64, after its pilots had received training in communist China. They also flew Chinese-built MiG-17s called J-5s. U.S. Air Force fighter pilots were careful to use their considerable speed advantage to shoot down the more maneuverable MiG-17. Between July 10, 1965 and February of '68, F-105s and F-4s down 61 MiG-17s. That's amazing. 61 MiG-17s shot down by Air Force F-105s and Air Force F-4s. So pretty incredible. That MiG-17's got one 37mm and two 23mm cannons and 16 rockets under the wing pods. Max speed 711 miles an hour. Range is 510 miles. Ceiling is 57,000 feet. And that's pretty incredible. Of course, our A-1H Skyraider right there, it was flown by the South Vietnamese for I think about 10 years. It was in service for them. We somehow acquired it, I'm not sure, later on. This is painted to represent the proud American, to tell that story, so that's pretty special. Good question, Abel. I don't have that answer, but that's definitely a good thought. Get a photo of our photographer down there. That's fantastic. So fantastic day to visit the Air Force Museum. The weather is amazing outside. A little chilly, but the sun is out. Can't beat it. We had some nasty weather come through on Monday, so they couldn't move the aircraft then, so it got bumped back to Wednesday. But perfect day for it. Glad we got a good break in the weather here. So if you don't know, we're just outside of Dayton, Ohio, technically on the grounds of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I used to work just up the road on the active side of the base for a number of years. This is the best place to work out in the area, for sure. It's just thrilling to see all these aircraft, and we just got a KC-135 in, what's it, last March? Wow, coming up on almost a year. So that's incredible to have that bird fly in here. We were able to put some cameras on the inside for the landing. Of course, it flew from Hawaii to Rickenbacker and Columbus. We put the cameras in at Rickenbacker, and then it flew and landed in our back runway. So that was really, really special aircraft landing. You can see that footage right here too. I interviewed the Mackay Trophy Award recipients. They were here to celebrate the aircraft coming here in its new home. It's out in our air park. We just don't have the room to put it inside, but so our air park kind of got full again. We got the C-17 out there. That was a movie bird, and that was T1. That was the first C-17. We have the very first C-17 off the assembly line in our air park. It was used in the Iron Man movies. I was in a couple Superman movies, Transformers as well. Michael Bay, the director of some of those movies, he autographed it. Jon Favreau signed it. Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow. They have signatures on the inside of that plane. That should be on our website. I know it's certainly on our Cockpit 360. There's a big pillar in the middle of the aircraft and that's where they signed it and put stickers on and stuff. It's a pretty remarkable movie bird that we have. We've got another C-130 out in the air park. We've got the Snoopy Nose aircraft out there as well, the big radar one. The total in-flight sim is out there in the air park now. Quite a few birds out there. Of course, we always try and get them inside. The Ohio weather's pretty harsh, so it would be awesome to have another building. I would actually like to see us extend the hangars lengthwise. You know, take off these massive walls here on the left of the hangar and extend out the galleries even more, but I don't know what's in the plan. There is a 50-year plan. I do not know the details. Looks like they're back at it again. A lot of moves happening here. Yeah, the MiGs are Soviet representations. MiG-17 and MiG-21. All right, that's about all the time we have for the live today. Thank you so much for viewing. I'm going to keep recording, but I've got to head to my office. So thank you so much for viewing today. We hope you all have a great Air Force Day. Thanks for saying hi in the chat. It means so much to us to correspond with you, get a sense of your thoughts, and try and answer some of your questions. We hope you can visit in person. If you can't visit in person, check us out virtually. We got educational aspects, amazing website for education on there as well. Lesson plans, K through 12 and beyond. There's scavenger hunts. I think there's even a virtual scavenger hunt you can do with our virtual tour. So definitely check us out online. So special thanks to our Air Force Museum Foundation again, and thank you for viewing. Thank you to our veterans and the families that have veterans in them and who contributed to freedom. We're honored to tell your stories and bring you these pictures and videos. So thank you so much for viewing today. We hope you have a great Air Force Day, and we hope to see you on the next one, everybody. Thanks so much for viewing.